So you've been leveling in Guild Wars 2 and you finally reached max level. This is where the endgame starts. Lots of cool game modes, new items to collect, account unlockables, and more. It's a little bit daunting. Which way should we go? Should I jump in and try raiding? I heard world versus world is fun. What the heck is a glider? Well, I'm gonna try to help you out here. These are the key things I suggest you do first when you reach endgame. Now, this is strictly my opinion and based off of the time that I've played the game. So of course, play it the way that you want to, but I recommend you do these few things first. This order is going to be based off of the fact that you have all 3 expansions onto your account and can access the total game, so keep that in mind. I also will not be going in order of the story, and we will have to do some of the story to accomplish these goals. So if you're interested in the great story that Guild Wars 2 has to offer, you may have to wait on a few of these. But let's go ahead and get into it. Once you hit 80, you instantly gain access to a plethora of options, new stories, elite specializations, and a number of account unlockables. My first recommendation is starting and completing the Path of Fire story, and the reason for this is the mounts. Without a doubt, one of the most valuable things that you can have tied to your account, as you will be able to traverse basically all terrain in the game once you have them. During the Path of Fire story, you will unlock the Raptor, the Springer, the Skimmer, and the Jackal. Each of these have a specialized traversal ability that make it incredibly easy to climb high distances, leap chasms, or even scoot across the water. You can improve these capabilities through the Mastery trait line, which give them longer leaps, higher jumps, and elevated gliding, and more. You may have to do some of the renowned hearts in these areas to get experience necessary to reach the Mastery bar requirements, but you will be able to do most of this naturally while playing the Path of Fire story. Later down the road, you can even unlock the Griffin, one of the 2 flying amounts available in the game, which is of course tied to the Path of Fire story and is only available once you complete that main storyline. However, be warned, it does cost 250 gold to complete, so it is not necessarily cheap. There are a few other mounts that you can acquire, the Warclaw, which is tied to World vs. World game mode, then the Roller Beetle and the Sky Scale, which is tied to Living World Season 4. You may have to pay gems to unlock these story missions, so be warned. However, the main Path of Fire story mounts that you gain there will be more than sufficient to get anywhere you need to go in Tyria. These mounts become pivotal in all endgame zones and throughout your playthrough of the rest of the game, so getting these first will greatly assist your playtime here. And next is another account-wide aspect, and that is gliding. Gliding is a mastery system tied to the Heart of Thorns expansion and is incredibly versatile, literally all over the place. It can essentially stop your fall from taking lethal damage and even allow you to fly higher up on wind gusts. You can technically learn the gliding skill in 2 places, either in Heart of Thorns or End of Dragons. However, the End of Dragons version does not allow you to upgrade it through the mastery system. You will just get the baseline gliding ability. You will need to spend some time in the Heart of Thorns zones leveling this particular mastery to train it. I recommend at least training it up until you are able to learn the lean technique, which is mastery level 3. This improves how long you can stay afloat and allows you to lean forward to speed up or float backwards to stay relatively stationary. Gliding has saved me more times than I would like to admit, and it is absolutely pivotal to your experience basically everywhere. It can save your life. Real quick though, what profession did you play first in Guild Wars 2? Tell me down below. For me, funny enough, I played a Char Warrior. That was my first Guild Wars 2 profession. After gliding and getting some mounts, my next recommendation is getting a bit of gear. Now, there's about 100 different ways for you to get gear, but I recommend getting just the full exotic set on your character. Now that is the orange color. You may have gotten some through story missions that you have complete or perhaps a lucky drop, but exotic gear is actually incredibly strong for its price point. I'd suggest doing research on your build and your playstyle for your class and then picking gear from there from the Blackline trading post. The gear here can be relatively cheap, only costing a few gold per piece, but having level 80 stats will drastically improve your capabilities in basically every endgame mode. This will also assist you being able to join instanced PvE content as well as world versus world. Structured PvP is normalized and you can compete without having literally any gear or any stats on it. Your stats are actually chosen by an amulet that you can pick and everyone has access to. You can literally join PvP at level 2. Once you have the exotic gear, you can handle most endgame content without really much penalty. You have basic traversal, gear, and gliding. Now it is time to guild up. I believe that the next best step is to find a guild in endgame content that you would be the most interested in. There are plenty of guilds that focus on a specific endgame mode, such as PvP, World v World, raids, and strikes, and there's other guilds that are just looking for new players. So I suggest reaching out and joining a guild and asking questions about the game, about your class, everything that you might have a question on. Not only will you gain access to a lot of other players' knowledge, but many of them are ready and willing to jump in and assist you in things in endgame. Not only that, you can usually gain access to a guild hall, which is actually pretty cool. Joining a community, of course, can be a little bit scary, but I highly recommend, because the players in Guild Wars 2, especially these veterans, are more than happy to help in anything that you may want to do. Which is good, because you're gonna need help with the very next step. I humbly request you like the video as it pushes this out to other new players who may be lost jumping into the game. Also, I ask for a subscribe to the channel just because of coffee. One of the most fun things about player progression is being able to unlock the elite specializations for your character. Being able to change your guardian into a bow-wielding dragon hunter is a really cool change of pace. My last recommendation for when you hit max level is to unlock your elite specializations. This requires 250 hero points for each of the new elite specs that you have tied to your account. But once you have unlocked it, you are good to go forever on that character. To do this, I suggest going to any of the 3 expansion zones, as the hero points here grant 10 points per node versus the Quarteria nodes that only grant 1. You are going to need some guild help with the Heart of Thorne's hero points, as they are monsters to deal with. Most of them are champion level mobs and can put you in downstate pretty damn quick. It helps having 1 to 2 extra players here to assist. The Path of Fire and End of Dragon hero points are not as difficult, but as a new player they could provide a challenge. Alternatively, there are hero point trains, which are large groups of players traveling together to earn hero points for their characters. Most of the time you will see these in the map chat in your bottom left, and there may be at any given time 1 to 2 going on. You can also search for any hero point trains in the looking for group feature right here. Now you have your mounts, gliding, gear, a guild, and your character's potential unlocked. I believe you are ready to handle anything Tyria can throw at you. Now again, as a final statement, this is how I would handle being level 80 for the first time. If you go any other different way, that is fantastic too, as there is no one right way to play this game. If you are still new to Guild Wars 2, here is a guide to all the gear stat choices you can have in-game and how to pick the right one for you. Stay caffeinated, folks.